I move the motion relating to cheaper childcare in the terms in which it appears on the notice paper.
Call the member.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Well, it's been over 2 years since the Albanese Labor government was elected, promising Australians that life would be cheaper under them. And yet, after 2 years of Labor, the cost of essentials has increased. Food is up by 11%, housing by 15%, rents are up by 15%, electricity up by 22%, and gas is up by a staggering 25%. Australians are paying 20% more personal income tax, despite the rhetoric you hear from the government. Household savings have collapsed by nearly 10 percentage points, and homeowners with a typical mortgage of $750,000 are nearly $35,000 worse off. It's quite jaw-dropping. Unfortunately, this is what happens when you vote for Labor. We know that Labor don't know how to manage money. They don't understand how inflation works, and they'll tell you whatever you want to hear just to win your vote. Over 12 months ago, Labor's cheaper childcare policy came into effect. Now, we warned Australians that Labor had not done the proper due diligence on this policy and that costs would rise. And what do you know? On July 1, 2023, centres increased their prices, then some increased again in January 2024, and then up they went again only just last month. In 12 months, out-of-pocket costs have increased by 8.4%, and families are right back where they started. And again, Labor will tell you that over 1 million families are better off under them. But they can't tell you how many parents and how many carers they supported back into full-time work. They promised 37,000. That was the number they promised you. And they can't tell you how much of the $4.7 billion spent was immediately eaten up by increased fees, never mind inflation. It appears the only thing they can tell you are the talking points, carefully crafted, of course, by the PM's media unit. And I mean, just last week, the announcement of a one-off 15% payment to early childhood educators is just further proof that this government cares more about winning votes than actually delivering good, long-lasting policy for the sector. In 2 years' time, when the wage payments have been made and fee restraints are removed, who, I ask you, Australians, who will be left footing this bill for those higher wages? It will be you. Australian families will be left with the bill. A 2-year pause on fee increases means that in the third year, prices will have to rise significantly, especially when most providers already increase their fees by more than the 4.4% cap that will be imposed. Even Good Start, the nation's largest not-for-profit, increased its fees by more than that just last month. And then, if we take a look at regional, rural and remote communities, the early childhood education situation is even more dire. There are families with no access at all, as the member for Casey will attest to. Families who drive an hour one way to do drop-off and then an hour back the other way just to go to work. Families who have to choose who goes to work and who looks after the children. Families who are struggling to get by because in this economy both parents need to work to pay their bills. And every time those on the opposite side of the chamber open their mouths to talk about families and how they are better off under them, I want you to think about the families in regional Australia. Better yet, why don't you get out of your metro seats, those opposite, get out of the cities and go and visit them, like my colleagues and I have been doing. Go and listen to the parents in Lismore, still waiting for the services to be reopened or rebuilt. Go and speak to the parents in Casey in Victoria, where there's one early learning place for every 15 children. Or visit Grey in the great state of SA, the biggest childcare desert in the country. Because if you really cared about all families, you'd make sure a policy for access to early learning benefited all families. This government talks a big game, but they have no idea how to actually deliver it. The Coalition believes in choice and flexibility, that all families should have a choice, and right now so many of you don't. We want to see actual cost of living relief delivered for families, something we know that this Labor government is actually incapable of delivering. All they have delivered to Australian families is higher inflation for longer. What all Australian families need is lower inflation, is lower mortgage rates and is lower cost of living relief, and that this government is failing them on.